Have you ever heard of a place where people enter but never come out? Hidden deep in the forests of New York lies Blackwood Asylum, a place abandoned decades ago but still carrying the echoes of its terrifying past. 4 friends, 1 camera, and a horrifying secret that was never meant to be uncovered. But when the door slammed shut behind them, when the whispers turned into screams, they realized they were not alone. What happened to them? Watch till the end, if you dare. Deep within the dense, shadowed forests of upstate New York, concealed by layers of mist and ancient trees, lay the ruins of Blackwood Asylum, a place of nightmares, abandoned since the 1950s after a series of unexplained patient disappearances. The asylum was infamous for its inhumane experiments, procedures that delved into the unholy depths of human endurance, pushing the boundaries of sanity and morality. Locals still whispered about the place, claiming that on certain nights, the air trembled with the echoes of long-forgotten screams, and the trees seemed to lean away from the building as if repelled by its evil. A group of urban explorers, Mark, Lisa, Chris, and Tara, had heard the stories but dismissed them as myths designed to keep trespassers away. They ran a YouTube channel dedicated to exploring haunted places, and Blackwood Asylum was their most ambitious project yet. The excitement of their potential viral video blinded them to the warnings of the townsfolk, who spoke of strange lights flickering in the asylum's windows and the distant sound of laughter echoing through the woods. They arrived at dusk, their headlights slicing through the thick fog that clung to the forest like a shroud. The asylum towered before them, an imposing skeleton of shattered windows and crumbling brick, its walls gripped by vines that seemed to pulse faintly, as if alive. The air smelled of decay, damp wood, and something else, something metallic, something wrong. Lisa shivered, her breath visible in the cold air. "This place gives me the creeps already," she muttered, clutching her flashlight tightly. Mark smirked, adjusting his camera. "That's the point. Come on, let's make history." They pushed open the heavy doors, which groaned as if in protest, the sound echoing through the empty halls like a warning. The moment they stepped inside, the temperature dropped sharply, their breaths forming visible clouds in the dimming light. Lisa rubbed her arms, her unease growing. "Why is it so damn cold in here?" she asked, her voice trembling. Chris checked his phone, frowning. "No service. Typical." The hallway stretched into darkness, the faint glow of their flashlights barely cutting through the gloom. Faint whispers, too soft to be real, seemed to float through the air, mingling with the sound of their footsteps. Shadows danced at the edge of their vision, always just out of reach, always disappearing when they turned to look. Tara's voice wavered as she spoke. "Guys, are we sure about this?" Mark kept the camera rolling, his determination unwavering. "We're already inside. Let's go deeper. The real horror is in the basement." They navigated the labyrinthine halls, past rooms filled with rusted gurneys, peeling wallpaper, and shattered furniture. Some doors remained locked, their secrets buried in darkness, while others were ajar, revealing glimpses of rusted scalpels, old medical charts, and strange symbols scrawled on the walls. A thick layer of dust coated everything, yet some areas looked disturbingly clean, almost as if someone or something still lived there. They found the basement entrance, a rusted metal door with deep scratches along its surface, as if something had tried desperately to claw its way out. It took both Mark and Chris to wrench it open, the hinges screaming in protest. A foul stench rose to meet them, the unmistakable scent of rotting flesh. Lisa gagged, covering her mouth with her sleeve. "Jesus Christ, what is that smell?" Tara hesitated, her instincts screaming at her to turn back. "Maybe we should," but Mark was already descending, his camera light cutting through the suffocating darkness. The others reluctantly followed, their footsteps echoing in the narrow stairwell. The basement was a tomb of forgotten horrors. Rows of rusted cages lined the walls, too small for any human to comfortably fit. Some still held remnants of their occupants, fragments of cloth, a skeletal hand gripping the bars, a set of eyeless sockets staring at them from the dark. Chris swallowed hard, his voice barely above a whisper. This isn't right. A single metal door at the end of the hall caught their attention. Above it, the faded words read, "Experimental Ward." Mark pushed it open, revealing a room filled with dusty patient records. The yellowed papers described unspeakable procedures, lobotomies, sensory deprivation, sleep experiments that lasted for months. And one file stood out among them. Patient 47. Subject exhibited extreme resistance. Procedure failed. Subject escaped. The lights flickered. A whisper crawled through the air, cold and menacing. "You shouldn't have come here." The door slammed shut. Tara screamed, her voice echoing through the basement. Chris ran to the door, yanking at the handle. "It won't open!" Lisa's flashlight died, plunging them into darkness. The only light came from Mark's camera, and its screen flickered violently. The static morphed into a grainy figure, a hunched, contorted shadow moving toward them. A low growl vibrated through the walls, sending chills down their spines. "Run!" Mark shouted, his voice cracking with fear. Something cold and bony grabbed Tara's ankle, yanking her off her feet. She shrieked as unseen hands dragged her toward the darkness. Mark lunged for her, gripping her arm, but the force was too strong. She disappeared into the void with a final, blood-curdling scream. Lisa sobbed, her hands trembling as she clutched her flashlight. "We need to get out! We need to get out now!" The whispers grew louder, overlapping, a choir of agony. The room trembled, the walls closing in. Mark turned his camera to the doorway and froze. A figure stood there. It was human, or at least it once had been. Its limbs were unnaturally twisted. Its mouth stretched wide in a silent scream. Empty eye sockets leaked thick, black ichor. It pointed at them, and the whispering voices merged into a single commanding voice. "Join us!" The lights exploded. Darkness consumed them. The aftermath. The next morning, local authorities received an anonymous tip about Blackwood Asylum. When they arrived, the building stood silent, empty. No trace of Mark, Lisa, Chris, or Tara remained, except for a single camera lying on the basement floor. The footage told their story. A final frame, hastily scrawled in blood across the wall, sent chills down the officers' spines. Experiment. The police sealed the asylum that day, yet the whispers never stopped. Blackwood Asylum remained a void, a place where the lost never truly disappeared. They simply became part of something much, much worse.